Guys, welcome back to the vlog. I hope everyone's happy and healthy out there. I hope you're taking care of yourselves and yeah, I hope you're taking care of each other. Right, for today's episode, well, it's another long one because it's an interview. And just to give you like a little bit of a background about this. So a couple of months ago, I was asked to take part in a virtual roundtable discussion for Kingpins. Kingpins is a trade show for denim fabric. And because of the whole situation with the COVID, they're moving everything online, moving everything to a virtual platform. Usually they would have, yeah, sort of a panel discussion in front of a crowd, but this time, yeah, it's all done virtually. The topic for this was the role of social media within the denim industry, and so there was Walter from Long John, there was Thomas from Denim Hunters, there was Annie from Simply Suzette, Robin from Robin Denim, excuse me, and there was also Ada, and she works for Soorty Enterprises, which is it's a denim manufacturer. It's a very, very big denim manufacturer. Now, all of these other guys I know quite well. Just through the years, through the industry, I've come into contact with them. But this is the first time that I'd actually had a proper chat with Ada and had a glimpse into Soorty. And following up from the roundtable discussion, I just dropped her an email and I was like, listen, it'd be lovely to have a chat just about what you guys are doing in the denim industry. And particularly, I was very interested in what they're doing in terms of sustainability. The interview that I did with Annie, which I will link in one of the corners, it got me very interested in what's happening out there in the denim industry towards ethical manufacture, towards sustainable manufacture, and particularly the technologies that are going into this. Ada was very, very kind, and we worked backwards and forwards on some really, really good, interesting questions that we could cover in the interview. But I got way, way more than I possibly imagined. We just went so in depth into all of the things that Soorty is doing to make the denim industry a much, much greener industry. I won't say too much because it's a brilliant interview. I will give the small caveat here that technology let me down again. The connection wasn't that great, but the information's there. Just the image freezes up every so often, so I hope you guys are okay with that. But anyway, I will just roll the interview now, and I'll speak to you at the end. So can you tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do?
My name is Ela Dikmen and I work as the Marketing and Communications Manager of Soorty Enterprises for Fabrics. So I'm responsible for setting up the inbound marketing strategies and the corporate tone of voice and telling stories through our collections, through the new launches we have or the new innovations we adopt, as well as designing these tailor-made experiences and communication points where we talk about our corporate initiatives.
Can you tell us a little bit about exactly what Soorty is?
Sure. Established in 1983 and being heavily focused on design for purpose, responsible production, and innovation, Soorty is one of the world's largest vertically integrated denim producers. Vertically integrated means that we can manage every single step related to jeans, and we often call this from fiber to jeans as well as from farm to retail. We have a high global presence. We have the headquarters in Karachi in Pakistan, and then we have production in Pakistan and in Bangladesh. We have two R&D labs, one in Karachi and one in Çorlu, Turkey. And we do have a design studio in Amsterdam. And then we have the offices in Amsterdam, in Istanbul, in New York, and in Barcelona. Obviously, all these are coming together for big turnovers and job opportunities for thousands of people. But it also comes together for production at scale. We do produce in large numbers, meaning that we have a big impact on the future, on the planet, socially, economically, and environmentally. We are quite aware of that, and we are dedicated to make it a positive one.
I mean, if you're doing from the cotton manufacturer all the way to to the manufacture of the jeans, then you must have a really interesting overview of the entire process. And with sustainability being a key topic these days, especially in the world of fashion and by extension of that denim, we should take a deeper dive into that topic. I feel that brands and manufacturers and also mills are becoming more transparent these days in the fact that they're making huge leaps forward in sustainable technology. So maybe we can separate this into the different stages. So from cotton sourcing with alternative fibers, indigo dyeing in the yarns, to washing processes in the production, and also to like the overarching theme of all sort of garment manufacture, which is the people involved. So just so we can kick this off, to the cotton, can you tell us some of the ways that Soorty is innovating in the sourcing of cotton production, and perhaps also something about alternative fibers and how they're combined with cotton, such as, let's see, hemp and linen, or is it tencel with fibra, and is it eco-vero?
So here, I think first we need to realize that sustainability is not about only being responsible to the environment, but it also has a big social side. So it's also about sustaining the industry. It's also about sustaining the business. And during this really harsh crisis COVID-19 brought, actually the industry saw multiple examples of how that can affect. So I believe ours is more of a community of people who are working day and night really hard to create value. And only if we do this together and only if we do this consciously, then we can transform the supply chain into a value chain, and we're really after that. As you said, being vertical actually is enabling us to look at the bigger picture, and it's enabling us to design and offer these holistic solutions. If there's anything wrong, you can just go like see it from above and you can go into detail. So it is actually enabling you to optimize results.
It's an interesting point you just made there of switching an idea for being a supply chain to being a value chain. Like that just small like shift in perception must have a huge impact over the entire industry.
Because anyone I met, honestly speaking, anyone I met is loving what they do. Like I think Indigo has this interesting magic. We're really passionate about what we do, and sometimes it really involves working really hard, working overtime and stressing about things, but in the end everybody's leaving smiling. So it is this interesting thing, and they all want to take denim somewhere that is better than it's today. So I think if we all come together like a chain, really like a small chain, I think there's a lot to tackle, and there's a lot of possibilities to discover. So it's quite interesting, and it's quite possible too, I believe.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, just look in the last 10 years, like the leaps forward that the denim industry has taken, it's quite astonishing. And that not only comes from the industry side as well, it comes from consumer demand, which is, I mean, those things, it's chicken and the egg. You can't really say which comes first, but both of them are incredibly important to have a more sustainable and more ethical supply chain through absolutely everything. I think that's really important. So just to jump back to like the very beginning of how jeans are made. I mean, obviously they're cotton, and cotton. There's a lot of talk about fibers that can be combined with cotton to make it more sustainable, more environmentally friendly, and more ethical as well in how it's produced. How are Soorty going about doing that?
I want to start with an example that's really high in focus right now in our company. For about 7 years now, we have been, like, our offices are certified as green offices by WWF, World Wildlife Foundation. And to take this partnership forward, we recently came together for a triple collaboration with CNA Foundation, WWF, and ourselves, and it is going to be supporting the organic cotton farming in our region in Balochistan in Pakistan. We are the largest buyer of organic cotton in these fields, and our consumption of organic cotton rose by 130% in just 1 year, from 2018 to 2019. We provide these farmers assurance and trainings and income support with food or rations we know production in we produce in large numbers, and we know this means an impact, but we are really determined to make this a good impact environmentally and socially. So, for example, when we're talking about sustainability, I think traceability is really important as well. We are doing everything on long-lasting partnerships. Our transactions are systematic. We can trace back to the beginners. We can map out all the journey. I think these are really important details. Also, as you were referring, regeneration is quite important. In the end, soil health is really key to our sustainable future. We need the land for sustaining our business. So, for example, examples like you said, hemp or linen, they're really important. So hemp, for example, is giving 70% of its nutrients back to the soil it grows in. It demands 4 times less water than cotton. It is really strong. It is known as to be antibacterial, and this actually means it requires no pesticides, it requires no chemicals. So all this is great. So this is something we're tackling. We have articles with hemp in our collection, and we want to proceed forward here. The supply is, like, globally, hemp supply is not as large as cotton, obviously, but I think with this increasing demand, this is something that will be handled differently in the coming days. Linen too, for example, is really durable as well. It grows, sorry.
No worries.
It grows really fast and really quickly. It is really durable, and it comes with these natural slabs that I love the texture. It is moisture wicking. So in summertime, it's like I'm wearing a linen shirt right now. It's, I think, ideal for summertime. Also, when we're talking about cotton alternatives, I also want to start with our recycling plants. We have a recycling plant that we're really proud of. We close the loop by repurposing both our own waste, so post-industrial waste, but we also collect unwanted jeans, like jeans that are no longer wanted and jeans that are meant to go to the landfills, and we repurpose them. We from scratch produce fibers from them and spin them into yarns and weave them, and we have a quite large recycled fabrics family. Mm-hmm. And it is both RGS and GRS and RCS certified. And of course, as you said, we have the cotton alternatives like Tencel, Refibra, Ecovero. Do you want me to tell a bit about what they are and how they perform? Or?
Yeah, certainly, because I mean, when we go to the hemp and the linen, those are natural fibers, and I think most people know something a little bit about that they can go back to land and things. But there's a certain amount of there's a perception and a vilification of man-made fibers, but I don't think that's the case.
They are man-made, but they're actually coming from natural sources, so botanic origins. For example, Tencel is Lansing's fiber of botanic origin coming from eucalyptus trees, and it's produced in a closed loop system. It's decomposable, and it naturally comes with this shine, as well as this, very soft hand feel. And fabrics that are made with 100% Tencel are really fluidy, really drapey. They have this beautiful shine. And for summer, for example, they would be ideal. But if you blend them with other fibers, you can get also different looks depending on the composition and the constructions you have. Refibra is bringing together Tencel with the post-industrial cotton waste. So in textile production, there's a lot of cotton wastage, and it is Lansing's way of finding a solution to this, bringing Tencel, which is produced in a closed loop system, together with this waste and making use of it. Ecovero is, again, Lansing's responsibility assured, sustainable production assured, responsible viscose. I don't know if you're aware, but viscose production can actually be quite tricky. And this is the way it is assured and certified, coming from, controlled sources with certifications that it is produced in the right way to do it. And it's actually saving 50% of carbon emissions as well as water. So great savings environmentally as well. We are actually tackling these cotton alternatives a lot when designing new products. We have them in our production a lot. And the initial idea came with, even though we really love cotton, we all do, it requires a lot of water, especially during the farming stage. So we started looking for alternatives. And I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we first made a trial with Ecovero and Tencel, blending them together using no cotton at all. And it has this, the fabric ended up to be having very authentic, very real denim-like look. And it was a medium weight one, but it felt so light and so soft to touch. We all loved touching it, and it quickly became a favorite among our customers. And even 3 years today, we still have it in our collection because it looks perfectly authentic. It washes out really nicely, but then it feels so soft and much lighter than it actually is. So it performed really well.
Yeah, you mentioned that there's a water crisis going on in Pakistan, and I mean that's obviously going to impact the cotton industry there. We just don't
Yeah.
hear too much about that over here. And then
Yeah, I think that's something. Yeah, for example, when I first went to Pakistan, I felt it big. Like, I'm also from Turkey. I grew up in Istanbul. The city is surrounded with water. Where I spent my childhood, we are also here surrounded with water. So for me, it was something that I knew at the back of my hand, like water resources are diminishing, but I never realized that how harsh it can be. So when I went there, I was really shocked with the reality that's expecting us, all the scenarios because since high school, I'm reading about water crisis coming up, but to see it in person makes you really like, boom.
yeah,
And then, for example, when I first went to the factory, I was also really impressed because all this machinery and all the setup, I never saw anything like those before. And then I realized the water scarcity is actually motivating you to do better because you do not have much choice and you only have to do better and you need to give back to the society that actually brings you somewhere. So whether it's working together with the farmers, whether it's adopting the latest technology, which is much more expensive, but it's also really conscious on the environment. So I can easily say everything we do and every new thing we adopt has this water consciousness at the heart of its, yeah, every single thing, whether it's in dyeing, whether it's in sourcing or laundry, every single step, we have this water somewhere around it.
yes, it's an interesting drive, and I guess that brings us quite nicely onto sort of the next question, which is also, I think, traditionally quite water intensive. So it's the dyeing of the fibers with indigo or the yarn with indigo. And this has been not only sort of water intensive, but it's also quite chemical intensive. And it's quite an environmentally and ethically harsh process.
Yeah.
How is Soorty dealing with those kind of topics?
We have a water initiative actually, and it comes with multiple projects underneath. For example, I can start with Zero Wastewater Initiative. It's a vertical solution. It has the first stage of indigo dyeing, and then the finishing. It simply avoids the use of pre-washer and post-washer tanks actually. The system is really simple. Like, if you think the idea is really simple, but what it does is really impactful and really motivational. So in the rope dyeing stage, you waste absolutely no water, zero wastage. And then in the finishing, the wastage drops from 14.75 liters per meter to 1.5. So there's a 90% saving in wastewater. And then not really recently, last year we adopted Smart Indigo system. I don't know if you're aware of what it is.
No, tell me about that.
Indigo cannot attach to cotton really easily.
Yeah.
So you need to reduce the indigo. And to do that, normally what is done is using a chemical called sodium hydrosulfate, something like that. And then you put, like, it is in the wastewater, and which means it goes to the water channels, which like eventually coming on our table as well. So with smart indigo, you don't use this chemical, you don't use the chemical at all, but you use electricity instead, and this actually keeps the waterways clean. We do have a herbal indigo option as well, coming from the natural indigofera plant. And this is environmentally speaking, also aesthetically speaking, an option, and it's really advantageous keeping the heritage. Last year, we collaborated with Archroma to launch the world's first clean liquid indigo, meaning it doesn't have this chemical called aniline. And also, this is not about directly indigo dyeing, but also last year, we have innovated this garment dyeing technology. We call it the fixed-dye. And actually, it's again a vertical solution. It was discovered in our innovation lab in Turkey, and then it was scaled up in Pakistan. So what it does is it uses no water, zero water at all when dyeing garments.
Wow.
So
okay.
like bringing this, like engineering know-how is quite important here. And after because NASDA, the innovation lab in Turkey, is more of a experimental hub for us. We try really to discover new innovations there, and it was a result of that. And after months of work, we managed that, and we launched it last year.
Wow. So, so the garments are dyed using absolutely no water at all.
Yeah.
I can't quite imagine how that works, but that's fantastic. That's really interesting. So no water going in and no wastewater coming out.
Yeah.
And is this something that is it for? Can you roll it out onto denim production, or is it just sort of garment?
You cannot, because it's because the warp and the weft are being treated differently, but here you just dye the garment itself as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But what we did was we replaced the use of enzymes there. So in denim, you can't do for denim dyeing, but you can do for the enzymes. So for tinting or for the after effects, we did some trials with that as well.
Yeah, of course, of course. Okay,
Yeah, there's
fascinating.
that's also what we wear. If you take every single one by one, there are so many issues to tackle, and then you come up with alternative solutions to many other things.
Yeah, and then that can because it's a vertical structure, you can roll that out over many different levels, I imagine.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's being a really useful asset, actually. Enabling you to move faster, which the customers are demanding a lot these days.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, for example, all the journey between the different stages, the carbon emissions, also those are being handled quite carefully, because everything is under one roof. It's easy to move things around, and if there's any change to be done, it's just more practical as well.
Yeah, I guess that means that if there's one decision made at one level of the company, then it automatically filters through the whole level of the company. And you can have overview of that as well. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big bonuses of these vertical companies. Yeah. Perfect. I mean, we can skip over now to kind of the other side, which is we've talked about adding indigo dye or color to cotton, and now it's more sort of removing the indigo dye from the cotton, because even though I'm a raw denim guy and most of my audience are raw denim guys, but the fact is that the biggest demand is for washed denim, and again, this is kind of traditionally being quite a harsh process, especially for the people actually doing it, and also for the surrounding environment as well. So, but again, I understand that you've taken big leaps forward in the actual how you can wash denim and how you can treat denim to make it look like it's been worn in.
As you say, the majority of demand is coming from the already washed side. I don't think people now are how do you say, they're willing to wait that long to have that worn-in look. So that is the big demand, and the majority of consumption is coming from there. But also, as you say, denim laundry has a big impact on water use and as well as depletion of natural resources. The good thing about what I will be telling with pride is that over the last few years, we have been investing a lot in disruptive technologies that use less water, that use less energy, that require less chemicals, while ensuring a really healthy working environment for the employees. So we actually, the vertical setup that I was telling you about, we call it the smart care, and it follows the 3 steps of resourcing, processing, and laundry. And smart laundry is our completely sustainable setup that involves the use of all these latest technology machinery like UP, core, e-flow, ozone, laser, and reducing the use of water, energy, and chemicals. We have the complete setup, and we do measure the environmental impacts in real time. And we also also use the green screen chemicals and follow the Sustainable Apparel Coalition's sustainability metrics tool. We use the Higg Index, we use the zero discharge of hazardous chemicals protocols. Is actually spread around through the whole system.
Yeah, there's always the opinion that, yeah, what I had a really interesting conversation with Annie Wells about this. Is like, what actually constitutes like a more environmentally friendly jean? Is it one that's washed? Is it one that's raw denim? And it's very, very hard to tell. But with all of those things in place, you must be able to have a very, very clear and very good overview about all this.
You cannot say like, okay, I know where the conversation is coming from. I have been in this conversation a lot as well. Since it's not washed or treated, you feel like it's much more responsible than a really worn-in looking jean. But then you like, it has so many aspects. It depends on the working conditions of the employees, or the dyeing, or the wastewater. Like, there are so many pillars into. Yeah, so many people touch our jeans before we buy them. There's so like livelihood of so many people depend on what we wear actually. So
yeah, I realized that it was like a bad assumption on my side that that this was the case. And then when you hear just the amount of different steps, like when I educated myself on this to bring a garment to production, then it's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult to say, like, what would be the most environmentally friendly. And that actually the most impact overall is certainly going to be in making the biggest demand for jeans, so the wash denim, more environmentally friendly. I think like innovations in this are just, it's really, really fascinating.
yeah,
So you guys,
yeah.
you're working with like ozone washing and then lasers, and can you just tell us a little bit about those processes?
Yeah, sure. For example, ozone is using only the air that's surrounding you and to wash the denim to get. So it's not using the harsh chemicals, and the liquid ratio is really lowered. And then when you're talking about laser, the chipping off is only done with the laser, so it's not using any hazardous chemicals like that were done with the PP spray or sanding by the employees, but it's just chipping off the indigo using the power of light.
Mm-hmm.
And then you you can get a large scale from really mild effects to really torn-in effects as well.
That's a pretty good overview of all the sort of the impacts that you're making in sort of an environmental, sustainable, and social way over the sort of the very brief overview about making a pair of jeans. But we also, when we were catching up earlier, we talked briefly about the collaborations you're putting in place, the way that you're working with communities. I'd love to hear like more of sort of the people side of things as well.
So yeah, I think the human side of how we do things is really important, and we take we put a lot of importance into that. You can feel it the minute you enter actually the company. Soorty is a family-run company, and you feel that sense inside as well. But also, as you say, the collaborations, because all these things that we are talking about, like making the world a better place and like trying to have a positive impact on the environment, is no one person can do it alone. No one company or country can do it alone. We need to work collaboratively. And I think we're lucky that denim industry is kind of like a community. So we really do value these collaborations a lot. For example, we love being part of the Denim Days. Every time we're there, we're it gives us a chance of understanding the people, what they want, what they like about the Indigo, how they want to go forward, and maybe the things we can discover together. Future Possibilities is our platform of transparent information, and it acts on two pillars. It's both a mobile platform. Right now we can't travel because of the restrictions, but it would actually travel around the world from one show to another, make pop-up appearances, or like, you know, be in design festival or denim festivals and connect with people, and we would actually interact with one another.
Oh,
And last year,
this is like a, you said it's when you said a mobile platform, I thought you said it was maybe something on the phone. So
no,
it's like
actually,
something,
mobile, I meant.
yeah.
We first did a pop-up appearance in London, in Shoreditch.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Mini Fabric Start. We supported the Dutch Design Week in Eindhoven, so we were presenting there. We collaborated with an artist who repurposed our recycled fabrics range. And we were in Amsterdam, we were in Nashville, so we were literally going around. We had a whole week of open days in our office in Amsterdam, and we welcomed not just customers, but also design students, also NGOs. And as part of it, for example, we had also a partnership with Denim City Amsterdam. And through the year, until Corona told us to stay home, we actually, every 2 months, we held these Future Possibilities events. Again, customers were invited, students of Jeans School and AFI were invited, NGOs were invited, and sometimes our competition too. So every time we tackled a different topic, let it be the social side of jean production, let it be the environmental side or digitalization in fashion. So we always had a different topic. And we had 4 guests. Each time it was one of us, every time representing the company, but the 3 were coming from either a different industry or our industry. And we simply had chats about how we can collaboratively design future. So we are always like welcoming this talk and this thought, and trying to see these things. We do have these influencers workshops that we quite often do. Depending on the audience they have, we try to create a project that will resonate with us. It's something we do, but also relate to their audiences, because we really believe in using the power of our voices. Like, if internet is enabling us to share information so easily, like we're doing right now, I think that should be used to do good. Like, because there's a lot of effort at the back scene. A pair of jeans is coming with a lot of effort, and people should know that, and they have questions, so we should know it. So it should be a mutual way of, you know, socially engaging with one another. So these workshops are enabling us to discover those. We, for example, have these collaborations with upcoming designers. You know, in jeans production, you need to do a lot of sampling. So when you try to sell fabrics or garments to a customer, you do a lot of sampling. And not all of them are being sold or picked. And sometimes if they're fully, you know, as they were, you can donate them. But sometimes they just take one leg of a jean or the back panel of a jacket or something, so it's no longer usable. We collect these in whatever office we are, if it's in Istanbul, Amsterdam, or New York, or if it's in Pakistan. And we come together with designers who are willing and actually really excited about making new things of our waste. So like, they repurpose our waste into one-of-a-kind handmade pieces. We had to press the pause button for this as well after traveling got so tricky, but hopefully soon we will be able to move on again. Maybe she has mentioned, I don't know. We are also after collecting stories, because we believe denim has so many stories to tell. Like, when you talk to someone who cares about denim, you see so many different sides of it. So we are also coming together with our partners or with our denim friends to design really capsule and tiny refined collections that will tell a story as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting. So from a narrative-based point of view, Can you give me an example of that?
For example, we will do one hopefully soon with Annie about consciousness, because we actually collaborated in a project we call Women in Denim, and she has prepared an entire look using nothing but cradle to cradle fabrics and environmental conscious laundry, and really like she went through the bottom of every single detail, and we love that. And we thought, why not make something really refined, really simple, but really sustainable. So any question we get, we are answering really clearly and transparently. Also, with Solomon of Left Hand Twill, we will prepare another collection with him as well, also which got paused during the COVID. We were really excited about launching it in June actually, but it didn't happen. So we will. We went to his archive, you know, he has a beautiful vintage archive, and we selected some pieces from there. So what we suggested was, let's do not replications, but items that are similar to this feel, using nothing but sustainable materials, nothing but sustainable laundries, and see how close we can get into these really worn-in pieces. So stuff like that.
That's good. I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Me too.
That's going to be a fascinating story to tell. I mean, it just occurs to me, like, I mean, and again, up until reasonably recently, like the manufacture of jeans and the manufacture of denim has really been like a very, very sort of closed door thing, like with brands like secretly like keeping it like to themselves where they're manufacturing. But this seems to have changed dramatically just in the last few years. And so, are you finding that you're getting a direct sort of business to consumer conversation going on?
Yeah, it is happening, and I'm really loving to see that happening, honestly. I'm a big fan of this. I don't know if it's my age, my personality, or who I am as a consumer, but I really believe in this. Maybe it's the age we live in today. Maybe 10 years ago, when I was not in this industry and I was barely aware of all this happening, I wasn't even aware of this. So I wasn't checking for this when I was shopping. But with all this information popping in our faces, I think nowadays as consumers, whatever we buy, not just clothing, we want to make sure that our purchasing power, the money we spend, does not abuse anyone or the land or the nature, or is not, you know, borrowing from our future, because we do want to live in a better world and we deserve that. So I think this conversation is necessary. Our communication is also getting to this point from time to time, whether it's the language we use on social media or whether it's physical appearance, the the activities we attend to, the things we sponsor, or how we take part in different things. For example, Dutch Design Week is Europe's biggest design event. And obviously the people who come there come to see design, and it's really heavily innovation focused, technology and future focused, it's sustainability focused. You wouldn't normally expect to see a denim manufacturer there. But we were there and we loved being part of the conversation with the passers-by, and we loved taking insights from them, what they want in their jeans, what they like in their jeans, and what they expect in the future. And we also enjoyed really talking about how we produce. And I really love telling them about the differences between conventional cotton, organic cotton, and the recycled options. And they really love touching and feeling, and all these conversations are taking it forward. And they really asked me questions about what things they can be aware of next time they go shopping. All these things are, I think, enabling us to discover future possibilities, enabling us to move forward and evolve together, because we are all living here together and we need to design something all together.
Yeah, I've recognized like a big, there's a big desire for people to gain this knowledge and to know about it. But when somebody asks me, I'm just like, I can tell you what I know, but I don't really know where to send you. And that's changed a lot over the last few years, which is really good. I can say, okay, you can actually go on to this mill's website and you can see what they're doing. You can go onto this brand's website and see the transparency that they have in their production. So that's a great way forward for all industries.
Yeah.
particularly in denim as well.
I think in the past they just didn't care, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. We didn't have the, but then when you see you're wearing a t-shirt and a woman on another part of the world cannot feed her children because of, I don't know, you pay $5 less to it. Like when we hear about all these things, I think it became like a wake-up call, and we all started asking more questions and wanted to, like, demanded more and wanted to be in the know-how. And
yeah, and hopefully this. You mentioned the crisis a couple of times. Hopefully, this has been a bit of a big wake-up call of how fragile the structures, certainly within fashion and certainly within fast fashion, how fragile they are, and hopefully that'll spur on a big change in the market as well.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Always looking positive.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've covered a great deal of topics here, but I always like to ask: is there anything that you feel we haven't covered that's essential to the story of Soorty, or something you want to share with the audience?
Great. I want to actually talk about Denim Kind, our LEED Platinum certified manufacturing unit. So LEED actually rates your process of sustainable practices. So it rates actually how well you're doing with water reuse. It values how you're using the green energies, how you are in innovation, in design, in materials and resources. It's really transparent. So anyone can go to their website and check for Soorty and see how well we do where, and like it's open to public knowledge as well. And Denim Kind, our latest manufacturing unit, got the platinum certification, which is the highest in the region. So I wanted to mention this. And the reason it got that, sorry?
Congratulations.
Thank you. The reason we got the highest rank possible actually was Denim Kind is actually able to reuse 85% of its water. And I just wanted to highlight this because we were talking about water crisis. It recaptures the 95% of sun, and this green energy is forward introduced hewing floor, which is really energy intensive normally. And it recycles 90% of the all waste it produces. So it's really working on a circular economy model. It also collects the rainwater, and all the different water initiatives that are settled inside is actually saving up enough water for the daily needs of 15,000 people. This is really big in Pakistan, and I wanted to say this.
15,000 people daily. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing. That's fantastic.
Yes, yeah, we're really proud of that, and it's like you really like entering Denim Kind. It's always feels really nice, really clean, and really nice space to work at. It has a big green atrium at the middle, so like it's fresh with like.
Wait, where is this? Sorry.
In Karachi, in Pakistan.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the first point. You said there was a couple more?
Yeah, so with the pandemic, we launched the digital denim library just actually not the last week, but the week before. It's pretty recently launched. We are really, as a team, into digitalization, and we have been trying ways of communicating to one another internally using digital tools, because we're all spread around the world. We need to stay connected. And after pandemic happened, and after the lockdown started and restrictions on travels came, we started questioning how can we present collections, how can we be of help to our customers, how will this go? And by adapting this setup we already had for ourselves into a new platform, our trimmings and our inspirations. So wherever our customers are, as long as they have an internet and they have laptop, they can just go online, and it works as an online shop. So they can search by filters, men's jeans, women's jeans, or a wash, or I don't know, whatever filter they have in mind. They can scroll around the different collections. They can see our different inspirational mood boards and stuff. So it's a big part of our digital transformation. So I wanted to share that as well. I think this is where now we are heading towards I'm really hopeful that someday we will meet again face to face, but as long as we're not doing that, this was an important step, so I wanted to share that as well.
I think that
Yeah.
this is like a big part of my or one of my clients is a trade show based in Berlin, or was
Yeah.
moving down to Frankfurt as of next summer. But the digitalization of trade shows is something that COVID has really like pushed forward, and I think it's been waiting for years to happen. The trade shows are so still essential and super important, um, but the way in which people are buying, the buyers who are buying from the stores, that is shifting dramatically. And I think that there has to be this underpinning of digitalization to really carry this forward. So it's interesting to hear that not only is that happening on sort of a garments like trade shows sort of level, but it's also happening in your industry as well, for example.
I think many, I don't know if you realize, we have actually heard many innovations these last few months. I think many were already on the shelf, but because we were busy with so many distractions, we were not able to do them. I think they just speed it up, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and also people have been using things that have been available for years, to really. I mean, we saw the first fashion shows that were cancelled, and some of the more sort of dynamic brands were just like, okay, we can just shift gears. All we need is a decent enough camera and a Zoom connection, and that's how they put on their fashion show. So it's just making use of all these tools that are out there, and that's great, and it's really it's brought a community back together that only touch base once every 6 months and then only a couple of emails and time. So I think this is a it's a horrible reason that it happened, but it's a positive outcome of this.
I sincerely do miss the one-to-one feeling. Honestly, I really miss having a coffee with someone I meet. But
No
I
doubt.
think so. To really stay connected in this way, and it was already available. We were already doing it for so many other reasons, and now it just enabled us to move forward like this. Maybe the old ways were not relating anymore. I don't know. This is something to
I
think
think
as
it's
well.
going to shift to just being a tool of the industry, and we're going to see the fashion shows and the trade shows becoming events where the brand can tell their story of who they are and also, of course, show their collections, come together with people, meet the people behind. And in a business to business point of view, this is certainly super important. Um, but then the bulk of the work, which is making the orders for the collections, that's going to be digitalized now. And then that's going to streamline so many other things of reorders, of stock, of all of these different aspects of the industry. They used to be done through. I know people that would like write it all down and then send like a picture to brands. Anything from that to Excel sheets. So yeah, it's going to be a positive. It's going to be a positive thing coming out the other side of this.
At least everything will be database and data driven, and you will be able to follow everything. So room for errors will decrease, speed will increase, yeah.
Yeah.
We have these fantastic photo cameras right now. Why not just take beautiful photos and share and
Yeah, that other barrier is getting much less now as well, which is great. I mean, the fact that I can do this, I can run like a YouTube channel. 5 years ago, that would have been almost impossible, or like at least a lot more expensive and much more difficult, much less fun as well.
World is changing. We need to adapt. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, and the third thing?
Yeah, it's also about digitalization. It has a side about digitalization. I don't know if you're familiar with Cradle to Cradle. It's a design system taking the principles of circularity, and it aims to use and reuse things better. So considering the horrific scenario of landfills and the waste problem, the main goal is actually wasting no more and driving a more circular philosophy. So just like LEED, C2C is also very transparent. It has its own website. Anyone can access, anyone can search for C2C assured goods in whatever category they look for. So to get the certification, they this time look at you under 5 categories that are material health, water stewardship, renewable energy, how you treat your employees, social fairness, and material reutilization. And we actually started about 2 years ago with a line of fabrics that are C2C verified, but then we were really determined and we continued adding more onto this line. So our fabric family grew larger and larger, and this year we actually became the first in the industry to have C2C verification for both fabrics and garments. When launching C2C, we actually wanted to launch with something that resonates, that makes sense. So we collaborated with the fabricant, Amsterdam-based digital fashion house. Back then, digital fashion was not as hot as it is today. Not everyone was talking about it. And we just love the idea that if it is about being circular and if it's about not wasting anymore, why not make something digital that use only, data like 1010 to sample, and you just don't produce any more fabric waste. And we launched the world's first digital denim garment. Yeah, so it was a very exciting project too, and I wanted to since I had the chance, I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what this is about. Yeah, so lots of things is going digital in a very physical world. Like denim is pair of jeans is a very physical thing, but then the digitalization is so important in that. Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. I hope this wasn't too much for a marathon.
No, it was really nice. Thank you for the chance and the opportunity.
Well, we're going to stay in touch in the future, and definitely would love to talk to you again, especially about any other innovations that are coming up, and maybe we can do something on the collaborations that you've got with who it was Annie you're doing one with, and who was the second one?
With Solomon. We have also some currently in shaping. I can tell you more maybe in a couple of weeks or.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to touch base on that, and yeah, for now, thank you again, and I'm going to speak to you again. Okay, if you guys are seeing this, then you've been sitting through this for quite a long time, so I won't take up too much more of your time. The first thing is I'd just like to say, Ada, thank you so much for being so open with everything, and thank you so much for imparting all that information, all that knowledge to us. Really appreciate it, and I really love this movement to mills and manufacturers being so much more open about what they're doing. The other thing is, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, as always. I'll put all the links to our social media and all that other good stuff down in the description below. If you've been into this, if there's something you've enjoyed, it'd be great if you could give us one of those thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button as well, and also there's the bell icon. That way you're going to get informed every single time that I drop a video. And that's it. I promise you I'll keep it short, so I'll just say, guys, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next vlog.